Well, hi, Allison.
Good morning, Susan. How are you?
It is barely still good morning, right? We're,
Just
we're,
just barely.
I know you're not
My
happy about later
It's
interviews, but
okay. I don't
yeah,
mind it. I just, for me, I just get started. It's like almost noon, and I'm already in the middle of things
yeah.
by
I
this time
know.
of
You
day.
gave
So
me
I
a
had to
panic.
switch gears.
You weren't on the call quick enough for me this morning. I was like, "Oh my God, where is she?"
I know. I might have left you to do it all by yourself so that I could just go back here, which is Maine, where I've been for the last 2 weeks, and just did the long drive home. So my head is in the game. But I am back in Chicago, but very much enjoyed being
Your
back in Maine
heart's
for a
in
couple weeks.
your
Yeah.
heart's in Maine.
So yeah, I actually it was super fun. I when I knew I was going east, I reached out to a bunch of fellow photo organizers who I know are in the east, and we had a really nice little meetup in Maine in Scarborough,
I
which
saw
I
that.
was able, yeah, I hadn't met some of them before, which is actually really nice, but I was also able to combine it before and after with one of my favorite birding places. And on that day, I saw on this trip two new birds that I had never seen before, and one of them was that morning. Well, it was right after we met up. So I was super excited
Yeah.
about that. A little salt marsh sparrow for any of my birders out there, which are endangered. I think that was the one that was endangered. So not easy to see and not easy to find and not easy to identify because they look very much like Nelson sparrows. So that is the birding tip of the day for any of our listeners. So we're now probably like, why am I listening to this? This is a photo podcast and not a birder. But if you follow me on social media, you would know that I'm a big birder.
Yes.
So
And you'd probably see some birds occasionally.
you would definitely see some birds occasionally, especially in the spring and the
Uh,
fall. But that is
yeah.
not our topic for today.
No,
Our
it's not.
topic for, yeah, our topic for today is privacy and photo privacy and how to deal with that. And I think we've talked about it a little bit. We have talked about it a couple times on the podcast, but we thought we'd bring on someone today to talk about it specifically and do a whole podcast on it.
You are like me, probably a privacy advocate. We took some additional training through the photo managers.
I did teach part of that training,
Yes,
so yes.
I was going to get there. And so, we do have some of that background. And then just as another aside, when I worked in local government, I was part of our security team and for our IT department, training our employees about not only citywide information security, but also personal, security and how you just, should keep your passwords safe and how you browse the internet safely. So we're gonna dive into that topic with
Mhm.
Tammy, our guest. Come on out, Tammy. There
Come
you
on down.
come on down. Well, welcome. Well, it's so
Thank you
nice
for
to have
having
you.
me.
Yeah, it's so nice to have you join us.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
Well, we're
So,
honored to have you. So,
Yeah.
so tell us a little bit about yourself and your
okay.
company.
Tammy Copenhaver. I live in the middle of nowhere, Montana. Uh, I am a first generation rancher and a certified photo manager. Also, a privacy advocate that I took alongside both of you, and Allison taught part of that. And I've taken it a little bit farther. I really incorporated it into my business. And so not only do I preserve home movies, organize photos, I also try to educate about privacy concerns. So,
So what first got you interested in this? Just another certification that the photo managers offer, or did you have some other interest going into it?
so what was interesting is the aspect of it, because I think that the way things are happening, what's happening with AI, what's happening with social media platforms, being and hackers and having identity stolen, things like that, that if we can be more informed about how to increase our privacy protections, I was all for it. And having the course through the photo managers was it was great. So I it's something that I have embraced, and I really enjoy that aspect of photo management and teaching.
So what is the connection for our listeners really between photo management and privacy?
So the connection, I think, is well, everything we do with photos, whether you're posting them, whether you're sharing them, being intentional about what you're sharing and who you're sharing and where you're posting that information. And just, if maybe you have your photos on a cloud site, making sure that password is secure, making sure you have two-factor authentication so somebody doesn't get in and access your photos. Being intentional online, if you're sharing through whatever platform it is that you're comfortable with, being intentional about what you're sharing.
Let's talk about why that matters and like what kind of personal information, when people share their photos, what kind of personal information are they really putting out there? It's just a cute picture of me and a kid in this background or wherever. So what
Well,
exactly is being shared?
that picture of your child can be manipulated with AI and used in horrific ways. When you're posting that, maybe they have a school T-shirt on or a mascot T-shirt. You can tell my kids have not been in the school for a long time, so I've lost all those words. But maybe you're identifying what school they go to. Maybe you're identifying where you're at. Maybe you're identifying your child. Um, so it's just all of those things. Recently, I have, since taking the photo management, the privacy course, I have really, I can't say I have completely stopped, but I rarely post about my granddaughters. And if I do post about my granddaughters, it's the backsides of them. I don't show their faces.
I think
So,
that's becoming more of a trend actually. And part of that has to do with the kids don't when we post things of our kids, the kids don't have a say in that, right? And what kind of platform are we leaving or digital legacy are we leaving for them? Um, I post a little bit of my kids. Mine are a lot older than your grandchildren, but I think there's more of an awareness now about there. And especially we're still at the beginning of the year. This will air in October, but I still see this time of year from so many people their kids holding up little signs that say, "My
First
name is
or
so
first
and
day of
so."
school.
First day of school, I'm
Mhm.
in Ms. Smith's class. My
Mhm.
favorite thing is ballet, and I like to read Roald Dahl books. And here's my dog's Fluffy. And I mean, I see a ton of those
and they
photos.
just gave away all that information that AI and the hackers are going to scrape and could be used against them. Could be used
Yeah.
against the parents, could be used against the grandparents. I mean, it's not just the child. They can take that information and focus it on an elderly family member. Um,
Yeah, that's a big risk, especially with how good I would say that AI is becoming to help you impersonate people in your life. So
Mhm.
several years ago, it would be you would get a text message from someone saying, "Hey, I'm in Europe, and someone stole my wallet, and it had my ID, and I, you know, Grandma, can you send me $3,000 so I can fly back home?" Those kind of things. And it was a simple text message and you never spoke to anyone. Well, now they're getting so brazen that they'll actually call and they will have screen scraped or whatever, captured, your likeness or your
Your
sound,
voice.
your voice. Yeah.
Hmm.
And so, you know, there's so much content out here right now, and we can't really control how people are going to take advantage of it, but we can do our best to try and limit that, right?
Right.
So
Right.
let's
Yeah.
talk about some of the ways that we can limit that.
Well, can we talk first about some of the misconceptions
Yeah,
and then get into how we can actually
protect
help people,
ourselves.
yeah,
Yeah.
protect ourselves. So what are the biggest misconceptions that people have about photo privacy? And by photo privacy, I'm literally just meaning when you're sharing photos, like the stuff in your photos. Because I think photo privacy is a term that we throw around,
Right.
but I'm not sure everybody would fully understand what that is. But what are misconceptions that people might have when they're sharing stuff?
Well, they think that it's only, the minute you share that photo, you've lost control of it, whether it's just to your short little group of friends or um, a larger audience. But the minute you post it, you lose control. Somebody can screenshot it, somebody can share it. And then what a lot of people don't understand or recognize is that if your location is turned on your device, that all goes with the image, the location, any information that you may have about that photo. If you've added, uh, like press the I and added the information, that all goes with the photo unless you have a program or you have specifically noted to take all that information off before you share it. So I think a lot of people don't realize how much information goes with a single photo. And then the minute you post it, it's out there and you have no control. You might take it down, but 5 people might have screenshotted it. I mean,
It's not just posting, too. It's, say you have, the cute photos of the kid or the grandkid, and you text them or you email them to, I don't know, another member of the family, and they share it.
right,
Maybe you haven't posted it, but maybe they do,
right.
right?
And
Yeah.
who knows where their audience is? You know, maybe they have their security settings down pretty tight, but you still don't know. It's out there, and you've lost control of it, um, and it could be a simple photo that you think is pretty benign, pretty easy, but it could be maybe the street name or the house number or a license plate. You know, we don't think of those things, but all of those are identifying marks on a photo that can lead right back.
Yeah. Here's an example, actually. So, I just came back from a couple weeks in Maine, and so I changed my background as I tend to do when I travel or when I, change my mood. Um, and I'm home now, but if this were live, somebody could actually probably figure out exactly where this photo was taken. And now they know where I am. They know that I'm not at my home, right? So now my home is empty. They might know, there's so many things you can even get from this photo that has no people in it. Like
Right.
there's nothing here, you can all take a look,
But
and
if
someone could
you're
take that
familiar,
and
yeah,
reverse, yeah, they could just reverse, the Google Lens thing and figure out where it is.
Right.
This
or
is,
or if they're
And AI is
familiar
sophisticated.
or if they're
yep,
familiar with the locale in general, like when
Right.
I see photos of Maui being posted, I almost immediately know exactly where, even if it's a remote beach, because I've been like to
yeah,
most of them and a lot. So just, just taking a picture of some beach area with palm trees is the same thing as that, and I could
yeah,
probably tell you where it was taken.
And
yeah.
that's,
And
yeah.
there's actually some identifying marks in there. This is Acadia National Park, and if I move over, that's actually pink granite behind
Ah,
me, which really doesn't exist in too many other places. Like this is not hard to figure out. But
yeah,
don't worry, everybody, I'm not there anymore. I'm
yeah,
home,
Right. And that's the
unfortunately.
thing is we try to
Yeah,
teach. You never post in real time.
yeah,
Never post in real time. If you're traveling, do it when you come home. Do it after the fact.
yeah.
Yeah. And just be very intentional about what you are
Well, the
posting.
other thing that I see, and it's getting a lot better, I think people have realized the danger of doing this, but they will post their tickets
Oh,
You know, they'll share, look,
on my way.
I'm on my way, and there's the QR code and everything. And people who just want to be, vicious have, taken that QR code information and canceled people's travel,
Mhm.
So the ramifications, if you're not thinking ahead, can be disastrous for you in ways that you can't even predict. So,
Yes, they're very smart, very
yeah.
smart. Yeah, very clever.
Well, they're
They
always trying to figure out a way to hurt someone or cheat you out of money or take advantage of you somehow. And when you are not in that, state of mind, you think everything is fine and nothing harmful is going to come to you. And so we don't necessarily want to scare everybody to death. We want to scare you enough that you're more conscious before you hit send, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
or to send or to post or
Hmm.
anything. Just being intentional, looking at the background, looking at the surroundings. And if it is children that you're taking photos of and you want to share because you're proud of your grandchild, I always ask my daughter, "Can I post this?" 9 times out of 10, she'll
Mhm.
say yes, but she knows that I'm very careful. And just asking the parents, is it okay? And if there's other kids in there, to block them
Mhm.
out because they may not want their picture
Right.
posted.
Yeah.
Especially like with sports teams, it's hard to just isolate your individual when you have a team sport. So, and yeah, just looking at the jerseys and, the surroundings, I just can't emphasize it enough.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, when you speak about games in public, there is this assumption that if I take a photo of you, you're in public, you don't get a say.
Yeah, you do. You
Well,
do.
Well,
not
you
not
kind of
really.
do. Yeah, you don't actually,
You
but what
don't. If
we're advocating for is to be conscientious. So I
right,
never
Yes.
post, photos of other kids as well. I mean, my kids are older now, so
right,
it's less likely. But those sports and things, I mean, if somebody wants to, they can easily post that picture of the team photo at the end of the year. They're not doing anything wrong. They're out on a
Right.
soccer field.
That's true. That's true.
Not legally anyway. I don't think they're doing anything wrong, but it's better. Like I used to post some of that before I was much more conscientious about it, like, 10 years ago when my kids were doing their tournaments and things. But now today I wouldn't. But that
Yeah,
doesn't mean it's
I've
not going to be posted because the coach might, right? It's
right.
there and then
Right.
tag everybody on the team. So,
Yes. Yes.
so
That's
just
true. I mean,
another
we can only do what we can do. We can
right,
only control what we can control, and you just hope it rubs off basically to those surrounding us.
right.
yeah.
So when I
Actually,
ran social media for the city, one of the things that I had to make sure everyone who was posting to our accounts understood, it was fine to take photos of events, but you need to get their permission before you post it on the city's website. Even though the law
Mhm.
says you're free game because you're in the public, we have to have a higher responsibility as, the city. And so we would carry a photo release form, and
mhm.
I would like if we had a concert or some sort of weekend event where there was lots of things going on, food booths and all that kind of stuff, and you came down and took photos, and we wanted to say, hey, come see, come join us, look at this family having fun, kind of a thing, I would take the photo, show it to the family, on my camera, and ask them, is it all right if we post this to our city's social media? And if they said yes, thank you, fill out this form. And
Right.
when I asked them to fill out the form, if that was the break, like, oh, I don't want to give you my information, well, then that photo got deleted because I can't have anything on my camera that could ever then be posted, like I bring it back and add it to the photo collection of the city. We didn't get permission to use that photo, right? So this has been going on for, since
Yeah. When I would
2007 for
do
me.
Yeah, when I was involved with women's events and things like that, and we would have conferences, we would have the photo release right in the registration.
Right.
Just because we would always post pictures. But now I'm a little, since the privacy course, I'm a little more reluctant to just post pictures. I mean, even when we're working here on the ranch and we might be, like the other day, we were preconditioning our calves and we were preg checking our cows. And I was trying to get a picture of it just because it's educational. People don't see that.
I don't
But
even
I
know
was
what those two things are. So, yes.
so, but our vet does it. So I was trying to be to where I was trying to get the concept, but get it not with him in the picture. Because
like just his hands or something,
right, right. So,
or
and
the
I think
back of
he
him.
would have been fine with it, but I was trying to not have him in the photo, and I try to be careful of that now with the privacy, is who's in the photo, what we're doing, are they okay with that, because some people aren't.
Right.
Going back to the releases, I don't know if this is nationwide or all schools, but in the Chicago public schools where my kids went, we had to, you get this packet of forms that you need to sign every single year, same ones. It's thick. There's a lot of them. So a lot of people just go through and quickly, but one of the forms in there is a photo release that will allow the Chicago Public Schools and your school to use any photos of you that you either know were taken or not
Right.
taken.
And
And every once in a while, there's a few, there's always a few people who will not sign it. And when I was volunteering as part of the parent groups, the fundraising groups, and they would be pulling together photos to use for some event, you didn't always know, actually. And to Susan's point, these photos were not deleted. So we had this group of photos, and I remember looking at one going, I'm almost positive that kid, like, I just remember something because it was in a class that one of my kids was in, that kid's parents did not sign that release. And it's
yeah,
interesting because it's very hard to control, because it's also, parents take tons of pictures at school, and those are not governed by those releases.
Right.
right. And an
So,
example of that is my granddaughter's in kindergarten. It was her first day of school, and my daughter knows that I am a privacy advocate, and I talk to them about it all the time. Well, their teacher posted their first day of school, and my granddaughter was front and center. But in addition to that, added her first and last name.
Yikes.
So my daughter was a little upset, because she's pretty guarded about what goes on the internet. So yeah, I mean, just that little piece right there, and it shows we don't have control.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we can only do what we can do, but trying to get the education out there so people don't do that. People take more intention and don't put the last name or don't put the first name or any of that. So she's walking on water.
Yeah.
Sorry, my dog snuck his way in behind me, and then he was just barking at the door. So because somehow the door was shut.
That's all
Sorry.
right.
Back
We
to our
didn't hear
regular
that.
scheduled programming.
Yeah,
No.
didn't hear that.
It's your mic
Yeah.
is good. We didn't hear that. So
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So talking about all that awareness, I think awareness is number one, and then now taking action. And what are the best ways? How do you start educating your clients, Tammy? Like, how do you bring up these conversations while you're helping them digitize their movies or their prints?
Well, I talk about, being careful about what they're posting where. My clients typically use Projector, which is encrypted, and it's their private area to view those videos. I can't say that I have yet had a lot of clients upload to other sources. But I do talk to my clients, and I'm with my information that I give to them once I complete their project, always talks about privacy, always talks about looking at, checking your location on your phone, checking the surroundings of your pictures that you are going to post now that they're digitized. I mean, that's what we want them to do, is we want them to share with the next generation and things like that. You've done this of digitizing your legacy. Now it's time to share it. So I'm very careful. I try to talk to them about, when you are sharing them, just be careful what you're sharing, how far, do you go into your platforms and make sure that your privacy settings are as locked down as you can get them? And that's kind of what I educate my clients, is whatever platform you're using, make sure it's locked as tight as you can get it. But, look at what you're sharing, make sure it's, an image that isn't going to come back, I guess. And typically when they have their images done, it's decades old, so it won't have that same real time. But if they put names and dates and places and things like that on the internet,
especially if they're excited about the genealogy aspect of those photos, that's where they tend to overshare, right? Then
birth dates, death dates, which you can get all that on the internet. You just don't want to
help
freely.
Them. Yeah.
Right.
You don't need to make it easier.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit. You say locked down. So that can mean a couple different things. That can mean both having a very strong password that's not your dog's name plus your kid's birthday, which I see all the time. And if you're a client of mine and you've used that, I've chastised you and said, I know all your passwords, so don't do that. So it's a couple things. It's having a good password. It's making sure that you're the only one that has access to it, or that if you're sharing like your full database with somebody, that they share the same privacy goals as you do. But it also can mean, if you are on your iPhone and you are texting somebody a photo or you are uploading a photo, you can tell it to strip all that stuff.
Right.
The background. So it can't strip, like if I had a sign behind me that says, Allison's house address is, it can't strip that. But it can strip the location data. You can strip, the time and the date, and you can do all of that. And I don't think a lot of people know that. It's not hard to do. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Once you select it, the little arrow just drops down and you can enable or disable that information. And you're right. Most people don't, because they're like so excited that they just share the picture and don't take that extra step to strip that information out of the photo.
Yeah. And to be honest, some platforms, they strip it on the import anyway. So if you were to go and look at your Facebook and pull down, which I just did while we've been talking, pull down a random image that you recently posted, I don't see any of that data. I mean, it's almost a negative experience, meaning if that's the only place then that photo was posted, there's no original data about that image, like the original capture or whatever date is gone and stuff like that, which could be valuable for us photo managers, so almost the opposite, right? So you don't want to put your important photos on social media and store them there.
No,
because
that's actually a change, because it used to be that all of that stuff was uploaded. And then there were a variety of lawsuits. And so I can't remember how many. It's been quite a few years now, but that is actually why now it's stripped when it goes up. But things like texts and emails, you have to actively strip it if you want to. You have to actively take that off of the info. And it's not hard. So like on an iPhone, it's literally you select them, and then at the top there's usually, I think it's called options, and you click on that and you can get rid of stuff there. I don't know actually if all platforms allow that. I don't know. I should have checked before before coming on this podcast.
Yeah, I didn't check either.
I know.
Yeah, and I just tell clients to lock down their platforms. I guess what I say is your platforms don't need to know your location. They don't need to know where you're at 24/7. To remove the location, to who can see your stuff, go through. I know, I think Meta has a privacy checkup, and to do that
Yeah.
every so often, to go through and really look at what is out there and being shared of your information, and to, and then you'll see a whole string like last year before Christmas. It was don't accept a friend request for me. Don't accept a
Mhm.
friend request for me. And my comment was, you need to change your password.
Yeah.
You need to go in and change your password more than once every 2 or 3 years.
Mhm.
I suggested it a couple times a year. But
So
Yeah.
on your iPhone, if you go into your Apple Photos and you hit the select button first, and then
yep.
you pick a thumbnail and you hit your share sheet or share icon option, there is the options button up at the top, and you do have to physically flip that
Mhm.
switch on location. I thought it was a sticky setting, and on mine it's not. So
Mhm.
unless you turn
It's
off,
every time.
yep,
Yeah.
it's
It's
every
every
time
time.
you have to
Yep.
do that. And then
Yep.
let me check on my Android with Google Photos
Yeah.
if it has the same.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so I think that's why people don't do it, because it's that extra step you have to do
Hmm.
every single time. Um, for a long time I didn't have my location on my phone, but we were taking pictures uh, on our ranch where I needed that location. So sometimes you need the location on, and I needed it
Well,
on for my photos, but I
it's a
just didn't
risk
want to
reward.
share that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a risk reward thing because I always have my location on my photos. And when I
Yeah.
use my DSLR, I add the location because one of my favorite things about photos is seeing them on a map. So, and that to
Mm-hmm.
me is totally worth it. Like I don't, and honestly, I don't care when I'm on vacation if there's location, like if that gets shared, by the time someone sees it, I'm not there anymore at some Airbnb and wherever. But I don't think we're not really advocating for, we don't want to scare people. You can still enjoy the fun parts of this, having the locations, you can see everything on a map, sharing everything. What we're advocating for, I think, is just to be more conscious about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I am not seeing an easy way in Google Photos when I'm on my Android to obfuscate or remove. Um, Now I'm in some editing mode. Help me get out.
Susan's gone
Um,
down a hole.
Yeah, I don't see that same easy toggle switch that Apple provides. So again, Apple does take privacy a little bit, I think, more seriously than some of the other
Mhm.
manufacturers. But when I hit share, um, turn off quick share. Let's see if that gives me any
Well,
other
you can
options.
just send me a text with a photo. I'll tell you if I can see where it is.
All right.
I will say Google does have this isn't just specific to photos, but they do actually have a very good privacy checkup that you can do. Just like Apple does as well. And people should be doing that. I would say every quarter, every 3 months, you should go in and do those checks because one of the things that happens is whenever there's an update of any kind, a lot of times the settings that you chose are reset to default. So you might not actually know what's happening. So I actually do the Google check. I have a reminder on my phone and I do those every quarter, Google and Apple. Um, and I don't have auto update on for my apps, which can be a pain. I think right now I have like this tells you I have too many apps, but I have like 137 apps that need to be updated on my phone. But I like to know because then I'll set them to go when I'm ready to actually go in and make sure that the privacy settings for certain ones are where I want them to be.
All right. Image finally sent. You were not in my address book on my Android. So
No,
I had to,
I'm crushed. Oh, so you're this unknown number. Should I read the number out loud? No, just
no.
kidding. Okay, so live time now. Let's see if this
Well, it
photo
is
of
my business number.
sunflowers. Yeah, let's see if I can see where that is. I might have to save it to my. All right, I'm going to save it, and now I'm going to look and see where it is. Um, and it does not tell me. There's no location.
Ah, yay.
So this was sent from an Android, right?
Android using Google Photos. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, there's no location. So, I mean, I can see the date and the time. It was taken on Wednesday at 12:15, but that's all I can see about it.
Okay.
So that's
Well,
good to know.
that is good to know because there was nothing visual that I could get to in the settings before I sent it
Mm.
off.
I wonder if Android has a universal setting in the
I,
Photos app somewhere. Yeah. Anyway, moving on.
yeah, now you've got me on the search and the hunt.
That's okay. Moving
So,
on, moving on. So, best practices. Like I said, we're not really saying don't share. But what happens? So your daughter shares photos of your grandkids with you, I am assuming all the time, and she knows you're a privacy advocate. But what about, say, the other side of the family? Like, has she had a talk with them, like what you can do with these photos, or there you go. There it is.
so I had already turned it to off. So
So there
what
you go.
people, if you're listening and you're not seeing YouTube, I was determined to figure this out. So I went to the app permissions for Google Photos on my Android. And when you get there and you're in the app info, you have to go to permissions and then you're in app permissions and you go down to location and you have three options: allow only while using the app, ask every time, and don't allow. And mine happened to be don't allow. So when I share anything out of that app anywhere else, the location does not go with it.
There you go.
So I was kind of thrilled that I had done that. I couldn't remember where that setting was because it's not visually as obvious as it is in the Apple Photo interface, but yay.
Yeah, that's great. It's good to have.
Good to know.
Yep, good to know.
There's so many like switches and controls. I mean, who's going to find all this unless you're, me? Somebody dedicated to like trying to figure out what is controlling what in your environment because these manufacturers do give you and these developers for the apps do give you permissions if you can find where they are, right?
Right. And the other thing that I do is I will follow on social media some cybersecurity
Mhm.
influencer professionals because they're very good about getting any updates or any actions that you should be taking right away. And they will show you what settings,
Mhm.
actually, how to go in on your phone, whether it's an iPhone or an Android, and modify the settings because, they change. Well, I mean, that was a change. We didn't realize that. So, um, you know, the settings are constantly changing because I think that
Mhm.
they are getting more uh, adding defenses to hackers and cyber and AI. I know it's all getting more and more sophisticated, but then now they're making the options to be more secure.
Right.
I think for a long time, people wanted to share everything and were more like, when this stuff was newer, and this is dating me, but when all these things first started coming out, like what was one of the early ones? Like MySpace, one of the early ones, and then Facebook, Instagram. Literally everybody just wanted to share everything, and that was before people really realized what the dangers were, and before the tools to make things dangerous were actually here. I do think, or I hope anyway, that it's now flipping a little bit where the default will now become keeping those settings off when things are shipped, updates and things. I mean, I think we're starting to see that a little bit to make it easier because at least the people around me are much more cognizant about, maybe, well, at least I think they are. And then they go ahead and they put that picture up of their kid who just got his driver's license and put the whole thing up there. Um, Again, that's part of people not thinking. But when you do sit down and think about it, you know, I don't know. It's just like I'm hoping that manufacturers are getting to be a little bit more cognizant about the fact that it's dangerous to put that stuff out there.
Right. Well,
Right.
and it's not just the people who create the hardware, but it's the app developers and
Mhm.
it's what their motive is. So I'll just give you an example with Facebook. I recently discovered and shared with several people that they are trying to build their AI tools.
Yeah.
And so way deep down in their privacy settings for your profile, it was flipped on automatically. The default was
Mm.
not off.
Yeah.
And they don't notify you. Would you like us to screen scrape everything in your account and share it with AI? No, we're not even going to ask you. We're just going to turn it on and see how long before you realize what's happening to your account and your data.
You know what was
Yeah, it's an
interesting about
opt-in.
that? Yeah, I had seen that too, and mine was off. So I don't know how they're deciding what is on or what are off. And the point
Right?
is really you've got to go check because mine was off. And I
Mine
can't
was as well.
imagine that my settings like were more locked down than yours, Susan. I mean, it was probably about the same, but something I had done must have done
Either that
had
or
fixed
they
it. Yeah.
released an update because of complaints.
No, I checked it pretty early because I saw, I
Okay.
mean, maybe, but I checked it right. I saw it before you posted. I know you post things literally right away, and I had already
Yeah.
seen it. So I don't think that was it. But
Yeah.
yeah, so the point really is the same though. It's that you don't know. And so with every update, every time you install new software, anytime you update an app, there's going to be a big Apple update coming out soon to the maybe it's already out, I'm not sure,
It is.
to
Yeah.
the iOS. You got to check all that. I mean, I don't do any of that the iOS updates until at least 3 weeks, 4 weeks out
Right.
for a variety of reasons, but you've got to check everything.
Yeah.
And it's
Well,
hard because they move things around and they create new settings. So you can't just have a checklist that says, okay, I got to go in and check these 3 places because there now could be 5.
and you don't
Right.
always know when the updates come in. So just
Hmm.
regularly taking a moment in your day when you're sitting at the doctor's office, you're sitting stuck in traffic behind a train, anything like that, where you can just open up your settings for a particular app and look and see. Because if you do that every 6 months or so, you don't know when the apps are updating. My desktop doesn't show me when a browser that, a website I visit is updated, right? They
Right.
can they
Hmm.
can update that at any time. It so it's not always that
So
obvious
do you
when.
guys keep auto updates on or off? I mean, some things update, you can't control that, but things like your apps,
So my
your software on your computers, you keep it on or off for auto.
Mine are off. Mine,
so I
I,
have it.
yeah.
Yeah. So with mine, I'm completely on all Apple OS, and I have um, the important patches I will have, but not the operating system,
Mhm.
like the major updates. And then it is to prompt me not to auto install. So, download and notify or something like that.
Mm.
Um, but not to install unless I'm ready to do that. When I was suggesting clients updates on Windows, uh, Windows is a little different because it's such an old platform, and their software, their foundational software has really not changed. Um, and so that can get hacked a lot faster. And depending on who I'm dealing with a client, I might tell them just keep those auto updates running on a Windows device. That's
Mm.
different than what I would say on an Apple.
Yeah. I, I think I go in and check and see if there's an update on my Windows because I'm all PC. I only
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
one Apple computer.
But I wouldn't do a major,
Mm-mm.
upgrade with Windows automatically. That would be
Mm-mm.
a prompt me. But
Yes.
any
It doesn't
security,
always work though, unfortunately. So I
yeah.
have one of my Windows laptops. I was trying to keep for as long as possible on Windows 10 because of certain software that I use that does not work with Windows 11. And
Uh-oh.
so I
Right.
had auto off for everything, and every that computer doesn't connect to the internet very well. So generally not a problem, but maybe a couple months ago, I turned it on and Windows 11 had installed.
Oh
And
no.
I had it off, like, literally everything was off, and it did it anyway.
Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was a tech conversation about that, and
Mm.
somebody came up with a piece of code that would basically stop Windows from
Mm.
doing that forced update. Um,
Yeah. Little
that-
late for me. And
yeah, a
now
little
that
late for
software
you.
doesn't work. So,
Yeah. But
Yeah,
but
that's a bummer.
yeah.
again, that's the manufacturer forcing their
Yeah.
clients to upgrade or move on.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And just to be clear, I don't know. that there was anything security wise that was an issue when it did that. I'm not saying Windows 11 is terrible. I'm just saying that it forced it on me and then I
Right.
had to go in and check. I'm not saying, for Windows users out there, I'm not, you don't need to be nervous that all of a sudden it was doing some insidious thing. But it just goes to show you don't really know what's happening in the background. So doing a regular privacy check, put something in your calendar and, if you're a Google user, go through, like pretty much everybody uses Google for something, go through their privacy check. I think you can actually set the Google privacy check to remind you too, to
I
do
think
it
it, yeah, I can't remember if it does or not,
regularly.
but
Yeah.
yeah, you can go through. It's it's a step by step. It walks you through, and
Yeah.
it's
It's quite
really
good.
pretty comprehensive
Yeah.
and pretty well done. And adding your inactive account manager and those kinds of
Yeah.
things, and the yeah, and with Apple, a lot of times when I'm brain like my husband's watching something on TV that has no interest, but
Hmm.
that's usually when I'm doing these kinds of things. I'll go through the privacy checkup with Meta, do the privacy
Hmm.
checkup on the phone. Yeah.
And one of the things I noticed with my Android, and I have a more recent Android phone, and I would get notifications because the Android software is checking all the apps, and it would say, excuse me, we've removed access or location information or something about these apps because you're not using them. And so
Oh,
slowly it's just rolling them, like locking them down and not giving them access to things anymore. So I thought that was good. And that was a proactive privacy move and security
th-
move.
that's a good
Yeah.
thing.
Another one like that that just made me think of it is, I use WhatsApp. I have a lot of friends in Europe and family. And that's one of those apps, or I think it's actually an Apple thing. It's not coming from the app, but just this morning, I got, a little pop-up saying, WhatsApp has had access to all of your photos for 6 months. Do you want to continue? And that sounds super nefarious. I mean, it's really just so that when you are sharing a photo via WhatsApp, you can go to your camera roll. And for some things, I have that off. And then when it's off, the sharing, you have to go in and give it access to specific photos and go back. But I do think that goes back to some of the apps. I think that's actually an Apple thing and not a WhatsApp thing, but trying to get more privacy conscious. With WhatsApp, I'm okay with the photo access. I use it so much for friends and family that it makes sense, but there's other things that literally do not need access to my camera roll, and so
Right.
it gets turned off.
Yeah, and you can go into iPhone and look at all
Yeah.
of that, and you
Yeah.
can tell it yes or no, enable, disable. And a lot
Yeah.
of times I'll do that. I might
Yeah.
need to send a photo once,
Yeah.
but it
Yeah.
doesn't need to have access to my images.
Yeah. Let's talk
Yeah.
about and this was not on our list to Tammy, but I was just thinking about it when I mentioned the license question. We all get these requests when you're signing up for something or doing something where you need to send an insurance card or a copy of your license or something like that. So a lot of people have those photos in their camera roll. So Tammy, putting you on the spot, but not really, because I know that you know how to handle this. But what are some better ways to do that? I mean, should people be keeping copies of their license, their insurance,
Their
their
passport,
passports in their
no,
camera roll?
no. I would say no on that. Um, that is private information, identifiable information, and if somebody gets a hold of that, they have your whole identity in the
Yeah.
palm of their hands. Um,
So what do you suggest instead? Like, okay, so the soccer team needs a copy of the insurance card, or you're renting a car and they need a copy of your license. What's a better way to send it?
well, I would say I would think like WhatsApp or Signal or something that's secure would be the better way to go rather than a text message or an airdrop. Um, that's where my head goes with that. Or using the online platforms like Trustworthy that has that information. I'm guessing I'm not a member of Trustworthy. I
They
haven't used
do,
it.
actually. Yeah.
I
So
do.
they probably have a secure way that you can
Mhm.
share that information
An
in a
encrypted
secure,
link.
right, in an encrypted link.
Yeah.
And that's, yes, no, I would not have driver's licenses, insurance cards, things like that in your camera roll.
Yeah.
And I
I
often find that with my clients.
always. I don't know that I've
Mhm.
ever done a digital library that has not had some of that in there.
Tax
Because people also
returns,
take it and then they forget. Yeah, tax
right.
returns, wills, that's a little bit less. I mean, the most common one for me that I've seen is license, passport, health insurance card.
Yes. And that's such, I
Those,
mean, that just opens you up to everything.
yeah.
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 So another one that will do it is so trustworthy, you can send a secure link. So that if somebody got to that, like it can't really be intercepted and it's not going to be found. I think most password managers also, I know LastPass does, OnePass does, where you can send it via that platform. And the person other, because that's what I use to send if I'm setting up an account for somebody. I actually will send them now their login information using LastPass. I still use LastPass even though they were hacked a couple times because I've dug into it and I feel they're secure, but I think most of them do. And I now have my clients send, if they can, send me their passwords and things that way. At the
Through
very
LastPass.
least, yeah, through or whichever one they're using. So I've had people send it through one password, which is why I know that one works. And I don't have one password. I don't need it
So
to get that
I
information.
have one password, but I have the free version. So I don't think
Mm,
that that is available on my version.
mm,
But I think if I had the paid version, I would be able to do that. But yes,
yeah,
I use one password. I have since like password managers first came out.
yeah. The other thing you can do, so I do have clients that don't use any of those things, and their passwords are still their dog's name and their kid's birthday. And if they're really resistant, if they're in person, I literally just write it down when I'm with them. That's not a
Right.
big deal.
That's
But if
if
they have
I'm
to,
or I'm on the phone.
yeah. And sometimes we'll get on the phone, but some people will still insist on sending it. So one thing you can do is at least have them send the username and the password for different media. It's
Right.
not great, but it's
Yeah.
But it's
something
too different.
anyway.
It's too different. It's not in the
Like
same
have them
Yeah.
email.
s- have
Yeah.
them say, this is the email that I'm writing you,
Yes.
from. I will text you the password. So if you
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
some random text with a bunch of information with no context, like don't
Yeah.
have them say, this is
Right. Don't say this is my
password.
Yeah, this
password
is my
for.
password
Yeah, this is my password for my
into
bank.
my bank account.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
randomly text a password. That's way
Yeah.
better than putting your username and login password together. So
Yes.
I've had to do that with
Yes.
clients as well. It's
Yeah.
the
Yes.
context around the both of them is the kicker, right? And then of course, don't use the same password for all of your accounts. They
Right.
have to be unique.
Yeah.
Your email is the most treasured target because if a hacker can get to your email, they know they can go in and do password resets and request pins and all sorts of things, confirm that handshake with an institution or an app, and they can lock you out of your pass your email, and then you don't even know what's happening before everything is stripped from your accounts. So
Right.
the
Yeah.
password to your email and should be the strongest thing that you have. In
And
addition,
changed regularly,
and change.
Yes, I was
like
Yeah,
just gonna
very
say
regularly. Yeah.
yeah,
change often and add the two factor and
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
and 2FA.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just so important, especially, yeah, email. And that's what I tell clients and when I'm giving presentations, any your email, your financial, your
Mhm.
medical, any of that. Always make sure that those are strong passwords.
Right.
Yeah.
And like your email, like you said, change it often. And it's like your social media platforms. Change the passwords often.
That one is super important just because think about all the stuff that gets posted up there. I mean,
Right. Well,
yeah.
and so many people talk about how they get locked out of their accounts.
Mm.
somebody will hack their social media and completely lock them out. They can't even
Yeah.
get to it. So,
Right.
um, and then to never trust, I guess, uh, when like Verizon, I'm going to pick on Verizon
Okay.
because they're the seem to be the culprit of this, but where they'll text you and say, "This is so and so from Verizon, and we just need you to click this link," and then all of a sudden you're giving them your password, you're giving them your user
Yeah.
ID, and then pretty soon your bank account is cleared out because you've given them all this information. And just know that
Yeah.
a reputable company, is never going to ask you for that information,
Hmm.
especially in
And
a
they won't
text.
call you out of the blue for it either. So I actually will
Yeah.
never answer the phone if I don't know the number ever.
Yeah.
And for my business as well. So when people call my business phone, I will not answer. So if you call me, leave a message because I will not answer if I don't know the number because I've actually read some stories about people phishing and they
Yes.
need you to say hello or,
Like
Yes.
that's it.
Yes.
That's
your
all
Is
you
name.
this so
Is
and
this so
so?
and so?
Yes.
Yes. So yeah, I never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, okay, so this is getting really sad and whatever. But if you had, we're gonna wrap this up with two more questions. First one is if you could give just one piece of advice, one actionable thing that you want our listeners to do today when they are done listening to this podcast that would have the most bang for the buck,
I would
what would
say
it
if
be?
you're using social media, to go into your social media, do the privacy checkup and lock it down. I think that's one of the most important things. And
Make
then
sure you
after
know
you,
all of your friends, I guess. Yeah.
right. Yeah, yeah, definitely. And if you're going to be sharing pictures, be very intentional about what you're sharing. Vague is better and never in real time.
and
Okay.
change those passwords.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And now our last question, which we always ask, is and we always doctor it a little bit to fit the topic, but what's the favorite photo in your collection and have you ever shared it on social media?
It would be hard for me to pick one favorite photo. And yes, I probably have shared it on social media because it's probably a picture of my family.
Mm.
Yeah. And that was, yes.
We all do. I've shared pictures of my family on social media. I almost never use names. You know, my husband's not on social media at all, so I've never put his name on there, but this is shows you where the danger is because I can post a picture, say, of my family and I don't use the names, but somebody that knows me,
Right.
on my social feed, my private feed will say,
Oh,
"Oh,
that's a
so
great
and
picture
so
of.
of exactly."
Yeah.
Now, my friends list on my private is very small. Like I literally know everybody that's on there very well. And I have people that, other members of our association or other things that will send me friend requests and I actually don't accept them until I actually know them very well. So if you're out there listening and I haven't accepted your friend request and you actually have thought about it, that would be why. Um,
Yeah.
but and because even if I'm being careful and not using the names, somebody else can comment. And yeah, I could
Right.
I could delete that comment, but I'm probably not monitoring it that closely.
Yes, and that was, I probably shared that picture long before the privacy advocacy
Hmm.
training.
Yeah.
Because if you were to look at my Facebook or my social platforms now, there's not much there. It's pretty vague, it's pretty benign. I rarely post pictures of anything that's identifiable with the kids or even my kids. I might, before I used to do like birthday videos for my
Mm.
kids and have all the pictures, and I've stopped doing that. I've stopped doing the anniversary because it
Yep.
tells the world all that information,
Yeah.
and my closest friends already know that information.
My
Right.
birthday rotates every year because I do like it when everybody writes in and says happy birthday. And I did it once on I made
That's a great
January
one.
1st my birthday and it was
Yes.
hilarious. We were away and I came back and I didn't have any internet. I came back and all these people that should have known better were like, "I didn't know your birthday was January 1st." It's like, "'Cause it's not."
Right. That's a good one.
Anyway, I know
Yeah.
it's kind of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I
It's kind of fun.
just yeah. I've since taking privacy, I've become
Yeah.
very intentional about what goes online.
And we'll in our show notes, and this is how we'll wrap things up. We'll drop the link to the privacy course because it is available. Anybody can take it. And
Yes,
I
yes.
taught a very small part of it, but the rest of it is taught by actually a guest that we've had on this show talking about something else, but Heather Nickerson, who is a privacy expert to the nth degree. So we'll drop a link to that in our show notes, as well as all of the information about Tammy and her business. So if you are in Montana or anywhere and are interested in learning more from
Yeah.
her, you'll that'll be in there as well.
Well, thank
I
you.
I
Yes.
just want to add one more thing before we say goodbye to Tammy. In Facebook, if you do want to um, uh, friend someone, but you don't want to give them total access, you can use lists,
Oh yeah.
and that's sort of how I manage it. If I don't know you in person and you want to be a friend, you might get put on a limited list.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I hadn't done that before. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
I'm kind
Yeah.
of like Allison. I have to, there has to be a relationship
Yeah.
typically. Yeah.
Well, I try and do that, but then you don't know, especially in our business with the association, if they're reaching out
Yes.
because
Right.
they want to hire you or they want to ask you questions or whatever. So I try to avail
Yeah.
myself, but I can still limit what they see.
Yeah. That's a good way to do it.
Well, you can accept a message from somebody and still not friend them.
Right.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
through messages, but I mean,
Yeah.
if they're, yeah, and you don't know why they're friending you because they may not understand that they can text you without being a friend.
Yeah. I
But
still don't. Yeah, I don't not on my personal one.
right.
The business ones I think anybody can follow. It's not
Yes,
I
because
don't
it's a
care
business
to
page. It's
yeah.
not your
But
profile
Yeah,
personal ones,
account.
yeah.
it's set to public. It has the
Yeah.
globe on it. It's
Yeah,
so
you
anything
don't
you're
have
putting out there is for the world.
exactly. You don't have a choice,
Yeah.
but you can start using friends lists. And
Mhm.
just so you know, close friends, you may want to share exclusively with, so you can put them in a category. Acquaintances or people you might want to share less with. You can choose to exclude these people when you post something by choosing friends except acquaintances. And then restricted, this list is for people you've added as a friend, but you just don't want to share with, like your boss. So there you go.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. See, I'm too lazy to actually like if I did that,
Be
I
organized.
would yeah. Well, I mean, I'm very organized, but
I know.
I don't know. It's kind of all or none for me on my private, but I do keep the list small for that reason so that I don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if you guys are the same, but social media is kind of, for me, myself, is kind of on the decline. My kids
Yeah.
rarely post on it. My
My
family
kids don't use it
rarely.
at all,
Yeah.
actually. Neither one of them.
So, yeah. So my personal page is pretty inactive, actually.
Mm.
But
I use
yeah,
it. I like it to keep up with people from college, from high school, from other
sure.
places that I've
Oh, I'll
lived.
scroll.
So,
I'm a
yeah, so I
lurker.
use it. I have actually stopped scrolling as much though because there's so much junk now. It's not just so and so had a baby or got a new puppy. It's like that's every eighth post because all the other seven are weird things that, from the algorithm that they think I want to see. Anyway, we
Yes.
are now getting really off topic. So let's rein us back in. Tammy, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us today. Always a pleasure.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate you and privileged to be on here. I was excited to get the invitation. So thank you.
Yeah, well, we loved having you. And
Yeah.
we will put all of your information in the show notes.
Yep.
Sounds
So,
great. I'm
yeah,
excited for it to come out,
Yeah.
yeah,
be
October
Great.
1.
released.
Well, such great
Yeah.
information. Thanks again, Tammy.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a great day, and I appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks. Take care.
You too.
All right. Wow. I hope this has been helpful for our listening audience. And, we've done the gamut. I think we covered a lot of different areas.
Mhm.
We probably freaked out a few people as well along the way.
Oh, hopefully not, because there's a lot we can do to protect ourselves. I mean,
Yes.
there's some things that we can't, but there are a lot of steps you can take to
Yeah.
protect yourself, first one is get rid of those passwords that have your dog and your kids' birthdays.
Yep.
And I'm not kidding. I see that over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Get yourself a password manager, or you can be like my mom who doesn't have one, but they write everything down in code,
Yep.
which I can guarantee nobody will ever crack that code. So just find a way that works for you. And I think that's actually the number one thing that you can do. And then just as Tammy said, just think intentionally about where you're sharing and, maybe let family know that when you're sharing those cute pictures of children or grandchildren, you really don't want them shared, or tell them, please don't post these on your own social feeds because there's way too much information
Absolutely.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a little conscious posting is good for everyone.
Yep.
All
Yep.
right. Well, another great interview is in the can. Thanks, Allison.
And thanks to you, Susan. And see you next time.
Yep. We'll catch you next month. Bye for now.
Bye for now.
That's it for our show today. Remember, you can find this episode on all of your favorite podcast apps. Be sure to click follow so you can stay up to date with the latest in photo organizing. We'll catch you next month.